Okay, just one more thing I wanted to show you about Flash drawing modes. With the brush selected, I can go down here and turn this on, this object drawing mode. Actually, before I do that, I'll turn it back off. And just to repeat, if I draw something in Flash, move it around, draw something else over here, select this, and if I drag it on top of something, well, if I drag it on top of a group, it doesn't have any effect. But if I drag it up on top of something that has not been grouped, and then I click off of it, we just now have one big old object. So draw something, click on it, drag it on top, and we just have one big old tangled thing. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not what we want. Well, there's one kind of in-between that's in between just a pure standalone drawing object and a group, or a drawing shape and a group. And that's this object down here. So if I go to the brush down here, object drawing, I turn this on, it goes dark. Now, whenever I draw something, it automatically gives me this bounding box around it, kind of like a group, but it's different from a group in a couple of different ways. The first is that I can still edit this object. I erased it, and it just let me do it. Remember what happens if I try to erase a group? It just says, aha, you can't do that. But I can go in and erase this. But once I select it, again, it gives me that bounding box. And here's the main way it's different. So I've got this one object that I drew. Now I'll make another one. Object mode is still on. So whereas before, if I took this and dropped it on top of this, they would just blend together. But it maintains each of these as a separate entity. Click on it, click on it again, and it maintains its separateness. So it's just another way of drawing. I'd never use that because I'm used to everything else, and that's a relatively new feature, but you might find some use for it. I tend to find it kind of annoying, so I always turn it off. But you might like it. Hey, what am I to say? So anyway, if I have these things, once I do them in object mode, they're automatically going to stay that way unless I go up here to modify, ungroup, and now that bounding box goes away. And if I go down here and do the same thing, modify, ungroup, no more bounding box, and each one of these things is now its own little piece. And if I drag these shapes on top of each other, they combine. Oops. Pick little pieces out of that. There we go. And they stick to each other. So that's how the object drawing mode works. Like I said, I just turn it off because I'm used to it working the other way. But you can do it that way. I won't think any less of you. All right, next we'll cover symbols, and then we'll call it a day.